What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Look, technically, there's still about 4 minutes left in this football game, but I'm not going to lie to you. The way this offense is playing, unless the defense just basically takes 2 turnovers themselves to the house, this ain't going to overtime. This ain't going anywhere. This ain't going to be no victory. Just real quick, guys, this is a reaction. This is initial reaction. I haven't watched film, so I'm not going to get too deep into things until I can see the film. But this is what I will tell you. Very bad game by Carson Wentz. I'm a Carson Wentz supporter. I think he is the future of this organization. I'm not going to shit on him because of this performance. But I'm also not going to sit here and be deluded and think to myself that this somehow was a good performance. No, clearly he's let the criticism get into his head. He's forcing things that are not there. That last pass before I started filming this, where he basically tried to force one into coverage to Jordan Matthews. There was no way that was going to work out. That's a delusional belief in your arm strength. That there was no way that was going to be fit. I think that he's allowing people to really get to him, and he's not thinking logically about some of the criticism that's being waged against him. You're going to get people who are just delusional, they're going to hate on him no matter what, because either they just don't like him for whatever reason, or they just don't like him because they were fans of Nick Foles. For those people, you just got to block them out, because who the fuck cares? Go tell them to go get a Dallas Cowboy hat or go get a Jacksonville Jaguars hat and go do their thing. Hop off the train. But you do get people who are coming on here with legitimate criticisms, and he's got to open his goddamn eyes open to what's happening with some of these true and genuine criticisms of Carson Wentz. Look, there was a play there, and I don't even need to go consult the film to point it out to you, to where he clearly looked down the flat. He saw Miles Sanders in the flat, and he should have thrown that out there. If this was a first or a second down play, sure, I understand not throwing it to the flat there, wanting to try to force something downfield. I get what you are as a quarterback. But when you're third and short, and you know for a fact that at minimum that is a conversion, and more than likely it's a big play, you got to take that. I can't defend that for you. There's no way people come in here and say, well, look at that play. Why didn't he take that? I don't have a legitimate excuse for it, because I did not play football at the collegiate level or the NFL level. But I can tell you that even I saw that, even I know to throw that, and even I could have made that throw. There's no excuse for that. I cannot support you in that particular play. I will say that some people, I thought Doug Peterson was really up and down in this game in terms of his play calling. The 3rd down and 2 where he drew up a really long, developing, and awkward running back draw, why? Why do that in that position? In what reality was that play going to be successful? In my preview video, I warned that Bobby Wagner, and they had this defensive tackle named Al Woods, who is pretty good at basically getting penetration and shutting down the run. But if you control those 2 players, you probably can run on this team all day. And there were periods of times where we were definitely getting chunk plays. Miles Sanders looked good, but there's also this aspect to this football team to where we abandon the run for really long stretches of time when the football game is still a 1-score game, and it doesn't make sense. You're acting like you're down 20 points and you got to get ahead. You got to catch up. And that's not the reality of what the football game is. And it's getting really difficult to defend Doug Peterson at this point. The waiting until Saturday to put Greg Ward Jr. on the active roster. There's no way you can't tell me that you didn't have an idea by Wednesday that it was very unlikely that one of those 2 receivers weren't going to play. Oh, well, we just kept it going until game time, and then we realized that they weren't going to be ready to play. Bullshit. Who are you trying to fool with that? You're not fooling me with that statement. It's all bullshit, and we know it. We can say the same thing about J.J. Well, he was technically Darren Sproles' replacement. Bullshit. In number, sure. But in abilities, skill, what he does, he's clearly there. He's clearly there because his coaching staff had an idea that Jordan Howard was going to be down for a longer period of time than they led everyone to believe. If Jordan Howard was going to play that game last week against New England and this game here, I highly doubt that they would have gone out and signed J.J., so I don't buy that excuse. I find that excuse to be full of shit. I do. I'm just not convinced that if Jordan Howard was a go for these past 2 weeks, that we would have even been sniffing around J.J. to bring him back. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think, none of that would have made sense. You would have just rolled out there with your third back and been confident in what you had. It just, like, their rationalization for things in a way they're trying to spin some of this stuff, it's getting frustrating because they're trying to treat people like we're idiots. The administration of Doug Peterson as a coach, his administration, the way he manages this football team, has got me questioning whether or not that he should be a head coach. There are parts about Doug Peterson I love, guys. I think that when he wants to, he can be very creative with play design. I think when he is being honest and true to himself, he's very good at developing quarterbacks. He's very good at developing and showing people things like that on film. I think he's a great offensive coordinator if that's all he has to do. I question his ability to handle the day in and day out administration of a football team. That concerns me. And we knew going into this that he wasn't very experienced, but I don't see progression year from year. And this is now him completing his 4th year as a head football coach. You don't have the burden of personnel decisions because you relinquished that. You said you wanted nothing to do with it. There's no way that you can sit there and say, like, oh, well, my limitations are due to the weapons in which they've been placed around me. You could have gone into Howie's office and demanded they went and got a deep threat. There's no reason why J.J. Nelson shouldn't be on this football team right now. And there was a lot of chances to upgrade this football team that I'm not even talking about. I'm just talking about the simple fact that there's a guy that we know has the speed to stretch the field who is a free agent. He's nothing special, but he's damn sure better than what we have out there. Because right now you got Carson Wentz trying to play a style of football that he's not. He's not that dude. He's not. He's not a guy that's going to dink and dunk you. That's not his game. And if you're trying to force a guy into playing a game that's not his, you're going to get these kind of results. So you got to go get the personnel around him that allows him to play the game that he's going to play. We saw the result of this. Clearly the criticism is in Carson Wentz's head. Clearly he's trying to force things now to try to get away from the criticism because people are saying he's holding the ball too long, and he is holding the ball too long. He even held the ball too long in the first half of this game. There were a few plays in the first half of this game where I was literally screaming, Carson, you can't hold it that long. There's got to be a timer in your head. And I don't understand how this coaching staff doesn't have him out there with big-ass foam pads with no helmet on slapping the shit out of him until he figures out to get rid of the ball in a 5-second count. There's no way by 5 seconds the ball should be out of your hand. Underneath no circumstances should the ball still be in your hand in the pocket at a 5-second count. And to be real with you, it's really about a 4-second count. I would be slapping the shit out of this kid until it got through his head with those pads. That you have got to dump that ball off. Or you've got to get out of the pocket and you got to scramble. And I did see some of those things later in the game from Carson where he did get the point that things are not developing. They're not getting open downfield. I need to tuck it and run. But you know what? At the end of the day, you can't put the ball on the ground twice. You can't throw 2 picks and expect to win, especially when you're robbing the defense. You're robbing the defense of outstanding performances. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that this shit is rosy. I'm not going to tell you that we're out of it either. I will tell you this. You're down to Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar. Big whoop on Nelson Aguilar, I'll admit. Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson. If the Seahawks couldn't beat us with those players out, I mean, come on. Something's got to happen, guys. Something's got to give here. We're not out of it. We're 5-6. I will say this: if the Patriots find a way to beat if the Cowboys find a way to beat the Patriots today, it's over. And I don't think that it's beyond belief to say that the Cowboys could beat the Patriots. I'm not going to sit there and say they will because the Patriots defense is a lot better than I think people realize. But they win that game. I can't see legitimately how the Eagles are going to win this division. Now, if they lose that game, then yeah, we're talking about the Eagles simply getting healthy, fixing. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm a Carson Wentz guy, but at this point, there's no way you can't say that there's not something there that doesn't need fixing. His mechanics are off on throws, guys. Look, I think Charles Davis was a little questionable on some of the things he was saying today because he didn't understand what the hell he was talking about. But with that said, like, I'm not going to deny him when he's showing you how wide he opened his hips and threw across his body to try to convert on a 4th and 2 when the play was open to be had. He's right there. Like, you can't deny when it's visually in front of your face. Like, there's no denying that. Like, he opened his hips way too wide, threw across his body, and missed the throw. Like, there's no disputing that. All right, guys, that's all I got for y'all. Y'all let me know your thoughts. My thoughts are I would beat the shit out of Carson Wentz with those rubber pads until he figures out how to command that pocket correctly. I don't think there's regression on Carson Wentz's ability to read the defenses, go through his progressions. I think he's doing all that shit correctly. The problem is that he's not paying attention to that internal clock. It's supposed to be in your head. He's holding on to the ball too long. And now, because of the criticisms and because of his play of recently, now he's really starting to feel the pressure. And now he's going to start turning the ball over at historic rates if we don't get this under control, because he's forcing it now. When you're holding the ball too long, you're not getting separation from your receivers, and you start trying to force it. That's when bad things start to happen for the season, guys. That's when you start losing to games to like Miami. We got to fix this because there's a lot of winnable games coming up. This sucks to go 2-4 in this 6-game stretch. I thought at worst we would go 3-3. So, look, the record is what the record is. It ain't over. But I can tell you right now, this coaching staff has got to do a better job. Carson Wentz has got to do a better job. The playmakers are the playmakers, guys. Yes, some of the struggles that Carson's having are absolutely due to the lack of weapons. No doubt about that. However, there are things that are in his control that he's not controlling at this point, especially these past 2 games. There were elements that were in his control that he failed to control. To me, that's not debatable. All right, y'all. Stephen Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Look, I'm going to do a film review, guys, and I'll show you down. I'll break stuff down for you on film this week. I'm not going to do that right now, guys, because I want to watch this Cowboy game and even find out if the season's worth trying to salvage at this point. Because I think if the Cowboys win this game, man, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's improbable at that point. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out of here, man.